Good morning, Ecosummit Amsterdam. Which ones of you are entrepreneurs? Which ones of you believe that through their entrepreneurship they're going to change this world for the better? More effectively than through anything else. I believe in that. I believe in entrepreneurship, and I'm very glad to be one, and I'm very glad to be amongst you. Rethinking energy. How can we lead from the future? That's what I attempt to do with my business, and what we basically build is an image of what we believe the future can look like, and from there we backcast rather than forecasting from these suboptimal realities of today. And how do we do that? We do that with science, with creativity, with philosophy. We have philosophers on board. I mean, we hire them. And our motto is dream, develop, do. Why dream? Because I believe that in your dreams you can do anything. You can travel through time. You can fly. And I'm very much convinced of the fact that we can turn our dreams into realities through development, through perseverance, through gaining knowledge, through science, through failing and failing and failing until we don't fail anymore, we succeed, and it's that moment that we have brought our dreams into realities. This is where I started my own career in energy. This was in Niger. I was about 6 years old here. You see me sitting in the middle of my brother and my other brother, Amadou, and this is where I grew up. Niger, where we had one of the 2 televisions in our town. Niger, where still 86% of the people have no access to energy. And, we had 3 broadcasts per week, and we could watch them if there was electricity at that moment. So that really kind of imprinted this idea upon me that energy access should be a universal right for all human beings. As you can see here, out of all the countries in the world, Niger is all the way there. It's the 9th energy poorest country in the world. Right now, in sub-Saharan Africa, we are looking at 700 million people with no energy access. So that's a big job that we need to get done. Because having no access to energy means you're losing 50% of your waking hours to fulfill your very basic needs. Which means that all that time you cannot spend on an education. You cannot spend it on earning an income. You cannot spend it on doing the important stuff in life, and you're basically imprisoned in poverty. So this kind of turned into a mission. Access to energy from renewable resources should be for every human being on this planet. In 2006, I started in the energy sector after a career in tech. And one of the first questions I asked was, what is energy? Does any one of you know? That's interesting, because that's also what my colleagues said. In Barcelona, they said this. We don't know what energy is. Now, if we don't know what energy is as energy professionals, apparently there's a disconnect between us and our product. And if we don't know what it is, how can we tell whether somebody is really conscious about it? How can we tell whether somebody is using a lot of it or just very little? We don't. So we had to go to the core of this issue. And energy, in the end, is the ability to do work in every form that we can imagine. Energy in the form of food is the ability for me personally to do work. Energy in the form of electricity, or in the form of some high-density carrier, or in the form of heat, enables us to get something done, enables us to create value, enables us to add something to economy, enables us to progress as humankind. So therewith, I would like to say that energy is the foundation of the real economy. The economy we touch, the economy we produce, the economy that enables us to progress. Now, how's the real economy doing? Like so. What are we looking at? This is fossil fuel consumption by humans during our existence. I got this picture in 2007. As you can see, it's still got the 2007 pixel type. And it shows that it was only until the Industrial Revolution that we started to consume fossil fuels. Until that moment, we were actually relying on renewables. And very soon, we will be relying on renewables again. Now, this is interesting. That means that we need to reframe something. Wherever we refer to alternative fuels, we think of sun and wind, but those are conventional. The actual alternative fuels that power our economies today are oil and coal and gas. We're only going to use them for a very short amount of time during our existence. Now, how do we get going in building the future that we want? One of the impulses that I had when I learned about numbers and facts during my energy career was to be against whatever developments we were seeing here. But rather than losing that energy on yelling boo at things that don't work, you'd better invest your energies into building something that makes the old obsolete. I'm going to give you 2 examples that I'm working on right now. The first is the Internet of Energy. Which ones of you have heard of that term? That's quite a couple of you. That's very good. Wonderful. Now, the Internet of Energy is, imagine a world where every human being, in every form that they can imagine, from every resource that they can imagine, has the ability to download or upload energy on some form of a grid. That's the Internet of Energy. We come from a centralized model, one that we know very well. It looks like this. You have one hub that generates energy for a lot of people. From centralized, we're going to decentralized. Now, this is the view from my office. This is the rooftop of Rotterdam Central Station. Decentralized energy generation. But then there's one step beyond this, and this is distributed. We're going to go into a distributed grid where you cannot tell whether somebody is a consumer or a producer. That also means that everybody can do anything at any moment. And this is the Internet of Energy. It also means that we're going to say goodbye to this word, consumer. Why? Because a consumer is a phenomenon of a linear economic model. They're using something up. Rather than that, we're going to go into prosumership. We're all producers and users at the same time. Now, the second example is a solar revolution. Of course, you've all heard about the solar revolution. And I'll frame it like this. I was in Africa, back where I grew up, in Niger. This is the school that I used to go to in 2014. So this was the first time that I went back after 26 years. A school that still has no access to electricity. Here you see my brother and I in front of our classroom. And again, we made the window shrink a little bit. I went inside the classroom, and this is Excel when you have no electricity. Go figure. This is Excel. It's very time-consuming. I went outside the classroom and I ran into my old teacher, Monsieur Tourodo. Had not changed one bit in 26 years except for his mobile phone. I asked him, if 86% of the people in this country have no access to electricity, how do you charge these things? And he said, I'll show you. He took me to this little shop on the corner of the street and he said, we charge our phones with diesel. A diesel power generator on the one end, an AC outlet on the other. Now, this is a business model because you know you're going to wait for an hour or maybe 2 hours until your phone is charged, which means that this shop owner is also going to sell you 1 or 2 drinks. Small business model. Works, right? But right now, all these kiosks are being converted into solar because that pays off so much better. The first mobile grid in a country such as Niger is powered by the sun. For lack of an electricity infrastructure, this was the most viable option that they had. The first street lighting in the town that I grew up in is powered by the sun. This is the solar revolution. And this is powered by, you all know this curve, by Bloomberg, the price development curve of solar power over the past, 40 years now? Which means that the return on investment on solar has been so vastly increasing. Right now, with every 1,000 euros you're investing into any set of solar panels, they're going to yield around 3.75 times that amount of money over their lifetime. But something is even better than that. We have the energy return on energy invested. And the energy return on energy invested means the amount of energy you had to invest into producing, generating these solar panels and installing them. And this one is way better than even the financial yield. Right now, it's 1 in 10 worldwide. Sub-Saharan Africa, 1 in 15 these days with the technologies of today, which means that we are generating 15 times the amount of energy with a set of solar panels than we used to. With wind, same thing. With any type of renewable energy, we are harvesting something that we cannot deplete. And that is fundamentally democratizing our society. That is creating a world that is ran by abundance rather than the notion of scarcity. That is going to completely shift our economic models. It's going to shift our power models. It's going to make sure that this seat very quickly is going to look like this so that this girl can go ahead and pursue a Nobel Prize because she deserves it. And this is going to create a new culture, a culture where we no longer have to fight over these last bits of venture capital or the last bits of energy, a culture where we're going to go about collaboration, about being diverse and being powerful and resilient because of that. I would love to invite you all to dream and to develop your dreams into realities, because I firmly believe that the power to change the world for the better is right here in this room. Thank you.